-3 and going before the sun got up this morning. It's that time of year. The tips of my fingers are frozen. I'm going to start wearing better gloves. I'm picking up a few of these nuke yards that we had built into singles, and I had them scattered around the edges of the apiary. I've been maintaining them with these gallon pails, so they have a fair bit of syrup in them, but I want to move them close so we can drop a bunch of winter feed in right smartly here, and then that should pretty much finish up everything we have to do for feeding. From now, after we drop the syrup into these girls, it'll just be a matter of going around and just topping them up, just give them a little splash right up to October through into the middle of October, just, I don't know, just to backfill that last little bit of nest. Just want to kind of shut them down a bit. So it's cold, and I have 2 layers of jackets on. Brought out my wool vest, staying nice and warm. It's cold, and I'm not really looking forward to winter, but at the same time, it's a kind of a soothing thought as things kind of roll to an end here. The honey's out into the drum. The bees are fed for the most part, and I'm starting to move. So moving hives like this, I'm no longer going to go down into the brood nest. I've said goodbye to my girls a couple of weeks ago, and now it's just a matter of moving bees. I'm going to start picking after I get the nukes back and dropped into a yard closer so I can open feed them and just to drop a bunch of syrup into them. I'm going to start picking yards that are a little bit further away, just bringing closer. Just, you know, try to tighten my apiary up a little bit and just settle in for fall. So then when we can start moving, so then, you know, things are a little more convenient. We go around, treat with oxalic acid, and then we can move them in at a drop of a hat. Just had a bit of deja vu as I drove into this yard. It was about 3 years ago. I was asked to speak at the BC Honey Producers Association in Kelowna. And for the longest time, I refused. I refused outright until finally they wore me down and they found a weekday, and I said yes. So they signed me up to speak at their Beekeepers convention. And I remember very distinctly after I accepted to speak at that convention, I remember that sheer and utter sense of panic. What I did is that day I picked up my iPhone and I went out to the bee yard, kind of like this, and I just spoke into the camera. I didn't know what to speak about. I spoke about the only thing I know, and that's bees. And it took me quite a while to accept the way I sounded, just the way I relay my message onto video like this, just the way I convey myself. Because I wanted to see what I would look like, what I look like up in front of people. I wanted to watch myself to see what exactly am I going to bring to this convention. And I was absolutely horrified. So what I did was I used this medium, this camera, to speak into, to provide kind of like a feedback loop to myself to be able to identify things that I wasn't quite impressed with or happy with as I spoke. And it helped me, you know, pull out and tease out all these little quirks that I have when I speak. And at that time I thought I was actually, well, I was correcting some of the tics, but I thought I was improving the way I spoke. But in actual fact, I just become more familiar with the way I spoke. And because of that, I was able to convey myself, you know, speak without constantly thinking about how I was sounding, you know. And just that very fact alone just kind of staggers a guy, staggers him, so he just can't carry through with thoughts and such. So if you look way back to the beginning, I did a video in a bee yard kind of like this about feeding bees. And man, it took like 10 different takes, and finally I got a take together. Then I discovered the edit button. So then I went through, and you'd notice my videos all at the start as I was practicing speaking, edit, 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 until I come up with something that I was somewhat happy with. So I went and spoke at the BC Honey Producers Convention, and that went fairly well. I was kind of impressed with myself. So Sandy and I come back. We had a really good time away, and that next day I made another video. With that improvement, with that, that step that I was able to make and achieve, I just wanted to carry that forward and see if I could take it a little bit further and just improve myself as I spoke. So I kept making videos, I kept practicing speaking, I kept, teasing out all those tics and my mannerisms, and just practicing fluid thought. And it's come to a point now where you kind of notice that I don't use the edit button near as much. And some of that is just because of practicing the way I speak. It just exercises parts in your brain that allows you to put together the message you're trying to convey more fluidly. The other thing is it's just become more familiar and more comfortable with actually speaking, right? So I'm just gonna turn my lights off. So this little, exercise I've been doing over the last 3 years has kind of taken me on this incredible journey of public speaking and just standing up in front of other people. Has allowed me to join the Manitoba Beekeepers Association, and has allowed me to tap that little bit of that activism spirit I have, where champion agriculture is one of my biggest drives, and has allowed me to stand up and actually do that and achieve amazing things. Collaborating with people and associations and industry and government is just things I'm doing now I would never have dreamt of doing 4 years ago. And it's all about wanting to better myself, continually moving forward, just looking at all through my life as I'm building my business within my apiary here and within the farm with the family. I always focus on one thing every year, just one thing that I wanted to improve. And that one thing that just kind of, staggers you, that you have to improve. And instead of trying to deal with 10 different things, it's just one thing a year. And then after 10 years, you've improved 10 things in your farm. So this this public speaking has been one of those things that I've never had enough courage to be able to overcome. And then I focused on it. And now I seem to be able to, I'm improving myself in that situation, and I'm a better person for it. Just a continual drive to move forward, just to improve things, just to make yourself a better person. And that's basically what I do. That's my philosophy as I move forward. This feeling I have right now is just, that sense of deja vu as I drove into the yard, that feeling of, accepting that speaking engagement, that sense of utter terror, and then that drive to pursue it and overcome it is just unbelievable. And then subsequent years after that, just the exercising my ability to be able to achieve what I set out to do. So there's a pretty good feeling driving into this yard. But making a video like this isn't getting my work done. Get these girls loaded up, move back to the yard, and then back onto the manure spreader. So I'm working custom crew hours. I'm on this big green shit spreader. This thing's just like Spaceballs and That great big intro, the Starship intro, just never ending. This is 60 tons. I don't know if you can see this. It's too dark. Two big fucking beaters. And it has 3 walking axles on it. 1, 2, 3. Which actually steer as you turn. It is absolutely unbelievable. So 60 ton pulled by this tractor. This tractor is a 2360 Bueller, or Versatile, and it's 360 horsepower chipped to 400, and it is doing absolutely everything it can to spread out this manure. So this 60 ton gets spread out in about a minute and a half, 2 minutes. Just an incredible amount of force, incredible amount of horsepower just to be able to handle this much product. We're putting this single load is way more than when I used to haul manure 20 years ago with the old case. I'd spend all bloody day trying to get out, I don't know, not even half this load. And I'm getting this out within like a 15-20 minute turnover. We're in a field now, so the manure, we stockpile the manure in the field just so it's a lot quicker. Like, wow. But it's not cheap. The custom guy's tractor went down, so he asked if we could put ours on and run a man, so here I am. But just look at this unit. Just like that Spaceballs intro. Let me stop for no one.